Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I was having a little technical difficulty, and honestly, I was actually having a little bit of farming difficulty. Um, as you can see, I'm wet, and I just had to change a shirt because I had to go on that mountain behind me and actually go and take care of some things. We had a pretty strong storm come through and knocked down some limbs, pushed over a shed. I had to take care of some fencing. Whatever, it's part and parcel of being on a farm. So anyway, glad you're here. We are here for the part 2 of the how we paid off $50,000 in debt in the first video, and now we're talking about how we paid off $50,000 in debt in 1 year utilizing the Dave Ramsey approach. It's Financial Peace University. You can check it out at www.daveramsey.com. All credit goes to him. We and his wonderful team there, by the way, because we were able to follow his baby steps, and we were able to get ourselves debt-free in a year. We actually, matter of fact, on part 3, we will play the debt-free scream for you if you're so interested, where we actually had an opportunity to call in and be able to be on his show and talk to Dave very quickly. To be able to do our debt-free scream. So I tell you what, it's phenomenal if you get the opportunity to do it, just simply for the fact that you are actually debt-free. So anyway, let's jump right in, and we're going to talk about baby steps 3 through 5, just to do quickly on what we did for baby steps 1 and 2. Baby steps 1 and 2 were to either increase or reduce your savings to $1,000. And like I said, we gave a lot of details in that first video. So by all means, check that out. But that's baby step number one. Baby step number 2 is, working on your debt snowball. And it starts off with, going with your least amount down to your greatest amount until you actually have all of those paid off. So let's talk baby steps number 3 through 5. Well, baby step number 3 is once we're debt free, okay, we're only started. We kind of think wow, we're debt free. We really don't have really much more trouble, but that's not true, because now we want to start making financial decisions that are going to really positively benefit us. And so one of the first things that we want to do is set up now a fully functional emergency savings plan. And so usually we say it's about 3 to 6 months of what you would need to operate. Now, let me explain what that means. When we want to operate, that means we need to be able to keep a roof over our head, possibly a car going to and from work. We need to, of course, keep food in our mouth, and we need to keep ourselves safe. So really all the basics are all of those things that we actually need. These are the things where cable is definitely not one of those things that you need to worry about in a fully funded emergency fund. You don't need to worry about an exorbitant cell phone payment in something like that. Gym memberships, those aren't necessarily vital. It's the things that we need to live on. And so we want to make sure that we get it to 3 to 6 months. So take whatever you got in terms of finding out by looking at your zero-based budget, which we did talk about last video, but look at your zero-based budget and then say to yourself, what exactly do I need to survive? And based off of that, get yourself a number. Could be 1,000, could be 2,000, could be 2,500, but then go ahead and multiply that number by 3, and that is your baseline, okay? We chose to go ahead and do it up to 6. We wanted to make sure that no matter what, we had enough money to last us 6 months in the event that something happened, somebody got hurt, somebody got disabled, or somebody got fired, jobs went out of control, something like that. And we wanted to make sure that we had that available to us. And so that's baby step number 3, okay? It might take you a little bit of time to get there, but with the fact of being debt-free at this point, start taking all of those extra resources that you have and just start pushing them into a savings fund. We want to make sure that we're not putting our money into anything else. Like, now is not the time that, since we're debt-free, we don't want to get into investments. We don't want to worry about doing mutual funds. We don't want to worry about anything else except for getting that fully established, emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. So that moves us now into baby step number 4. Baby step number 4 is a little bit more inclusive in the sense that what we want to do is start actually working on investments. And that's where we want to say, okay, we have a certain percentage which is 15% of what we want to do in terms of a IRA or a retirement fund or some other form of pre-tax retirement plans. I don't want to necessarily get into the details of these, but the long story short is that two of the most basic and one of the best investment strategies are those ones that are going to be your pre-tax dollars. We don't want to invest in something that is going to be after tax because, of course, we're dealing with less amounts of money. So a Roth IRA is very good. We have a Roth. We actually have a Roth and a traditional because there's two different forms of IRAs or individual retirement accounts. And we actually have established both. The traditional is not something that Dave Ramsey highly recommends to start off with when you're working on the baby steps. Instead, go ahead and do a Roth because the traditional has some additional benefits that are in there, but really those are a matter of, being on that whole non-pre-tax, capability or something like that. So we want to make sure that we have a fully taken care of 15% inside of our Roth IRA or any other type of a tax benefit. This is sometimes one of those ones that, if you have a 401k, it's really great to maximize your 401k. I know I did when I was working there, and I wanted to make sure that I maximized it. And then what was really great is that my employer at the time would match it. And so I was making sure that I put as much into, the 401k as I possibly could. So a couple of different investment strategies, but that's absolutely one to do. Okay. And then last but not least, if we have kids, baby step number 5 is that we want to go ahead and start saving for their college. Now, these 3 steps, or I should say steps 4 and step 5, you can actually go ahead and do continuously. Step 4 and step 5 are something that we are currently in. We have taken care of number 2. We have worked on our debt snowball. We have our 3 to 6 months of a savings in a fully funded emergency fund. And then we also have now our 15% going into a Roth, and then also a certain amount of college funding is also happening as well. And so in reference to the college funding, what I did was a couple of different things that I prefer. I did a 529. That's not necessarily something that you have to do, but I decided to go ahead and do a 529. But you can just go old school and just go ahead and start saving, period. You could say like, I want to save $100 a month, or I want to save $150 a month, something to start building toward those kids' college funds. What's really cool about the college fund is, for like me, for instance, if my parents were doing that with me, what would have been really cool is that they would have been able to actually either give me that money and just let me just use it discretionarily, or they would have been able to take it back, because there are a lot of states these days that if your kids do well in school, they can actually get a full ride to an in-state university, which is pretty awesome. So, we're doing that with the faith that they might possibly get, a sports scholarship, because we have younger kids, so they maybe get a sports scholarship. Maybe they'll actually get an academic scholarship. So the long story short is that we're doing this in good faith, that they're going to need some money that we can gift them, whether it be to go toward their college education, or whether it be to go toward just having it when they turn 18 years of age and being able to just, simply invest it themselves, or getting them, making sure that they're out of debt. That's what step 5 is all about. And so once you take care of steps 3, 4, and 5, once again, step 4 and step 5 are going to be, making sure that those things stay continuously invested. There is a couple of things that we want to make sure that we keep in mind, and we'll close up this video here shortly, is that we want to have something called laser focus. Like, we want to ensure that when we are working on baby steps, that is kind of the only thing that we are focused on. Dave describes it as working like at a gazelle pace. Like, you don't want to take your time with something like this. If you have the resources available to you at that time, which you should, you want to go ahead and jump on this thing as soon as possible. And so we don't want to get muddled by saying like, okay, well, I think that I have enough discretionary money that I can go ahead and take care of the college funding. And of course, if you're going to church, I can tithe with no problem. And then I've got my bills that I got to take care of, and I can work on this debt snowball. Dave does not recommend that whatsoever. They have to focus down, or you have to focus down on the baby step that you are specifically working at. So if it's baby step number 1 and you're working to get your $1,000, that's what you do. And that's the only thing that you do. You do not worry about baby steps 2 through 7, okay? That is pretty much, let's see. Let me see if I got some notes here. I'm trying to make sure that I don't skip anything. A couple of IRA investment strategies, because of the fact that that might be entirely new. A lot of folks on this call, a lot of folks watching us for the replay may not necessarily know where to start. So like, what does it mean to be able to invest my 15%? Well, there are brokers available that will actually give you a way of saying, like, if you invest in this way, or if you walk through this way, brokers are not so bad to actually worry about. Brokers, you just got to be careful, because, brokers will get a percentage of compensation based on how well your IRA is doing. But honestly, that's not money out of my pocket. That ends up being something that is taken care of by the brokerage that I work. It's one of those things that I believe that my broker is compensated based on them analyzing the market with my Roth IRA, and therefore using my dollars in the correct area. If they get big returns on that, their brokerage actually pays for that. So make sure that you do a lot of research on that for being able to actually do that. In addition to, you might be able to hook some sweet scores with like some airline mileages, or, you could get like a couple $100 if you open up with a certain broker, something like that. But, really, those are just bonuses. You want to get with a broker that super friendly, super professional, can absolutely give you some really, really good insight and really, really great advice, and breaking it down to very manageable, easy pieces. Okay, so that's it, folks. That is baby steps number 3 through 5. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to make sure that I hopped on here and told you, like, bottom line, we paid off $50,000 in debt in 1 year. And it's because of the fact that we use the Dave Ramsey approach. And so we just want to gift that to you as well. And if you have any questions, please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that our content is on point. And, if you have any questions, by all means, comment below, and I would be happy to go back and answer them for you. So I hope you enjoyed this I hope you enjoyed this YouTube Live. And I cannot wait to talk to you again about how to help you get out of debt. Take care now.